Final Destination. Bloodlines has already been released, the latest film in the saga. This story brilliantly connects all the movies in the franchise. Also, they finally revealed everything about the character, played by Tony Todd. That's what we'll talk about here. Today on Charlietales, we'll analyze the latest Final Destination movie, explain the ending and all its connections with the rest of the saga. Ready? Let's begin. The movie tells the story of Stefani, a young woman tormented by a recurring nightmare. In her dreams, she sees an unknown woman being the victim of a catastrophic event. This woman is her grandmother, and the dream is a premonition she had 50 years ago. At that time, she saved hundreds of people. But we all know death doesn't like to be cheated, so it has spent the last few decades hunting the people who survived. This time, death's design will not only attack the survivors, it will also go after their children and grandchildren. That's why Stefani and her family are now in danger. This is the synopsis of the story. Now let's move on to the ending. The protagonists discover that there is a way to break the cycle. Someone must die and be revived. With that, the design will be broken and everyone will be safe. This technique was used by the protagonist of Final Destination 2, Kimberly Corman. She drowned but was later revived. In the entire saga, she is the only one who canonically has defeated death. At the end of the movie, Stefani also drowns and is revived by her brother, who knows CPR. They believe that with this, they broke the cycle. However, they later discover they failed. A doctor tells them that to be clinically dead, a person must stop breathing for 5 minutes. So Stefani never actually died. This means they never broke the design, and the movie ends with both of them being eliminated. I need to talk about Iris. This old woman is an extremely interesting character. She is Stefani's grandmother, and saved hundreds of people 50 years ago. In the Final Destination timeline, she is the oldest seer of the saga, since her premonition occurred before all the movies. The film presents Iris as a somewhat crazy old woman, but in reality, she is an expert at escaping death, as she's been able to avoid it for decades. When Iris survived her first premonition, she thought she had defeated the design and lived a normal life with her husband. But everything changed when her husband died. That's when she realized death was coming back and attacking them in the order they died in her premonition. Basically the same thing that happens in all the movies. But with Iris it was more complicated, because it wasn't just 10 people, it was hundreds. That's why the design took so long to reach her. In the premonition, Iris died last. So before her turn, hundreds of people had to be eliminated, and the children of those people also had to be eliminated. All of that took years. When her time finally came, Iris locked herself in a lonely cabin. She did this to protect herself, and at the same time to defend her family. The cycle starts with the main victim, and then goes on to their descendants, so as long as Iris lived, her family would be safe. But everything changed when she discovered she had cancer. With that, her family was doomed. I would dare to say that Iris is the character with the most premonition power in the whole saga. She spent years writing a notebook with many premonitions. There are notes about events from the previous movies. For example, there are drawings about Flight 180, the accident from the first film. Iris received premonitions of that incident. But why would Iris be connected to this story? The most logical answer would be that all the characters in the saga are descendants of those people that Iris saved 50 years ago. That way the whole saga is connected. It wouldn't make sense for Iris to have visions of random people. Let's talk about the man from the funeral home. For years, this character has been the subject of crazy fan theories. Many of us thought he was death personified, or an angel or something like that. But now they finally reveal his origin. He's just a normal man. His name is John William Bloodworth, and when he was a child, he was present at the incident from 50 years ago. He was saved by Iris, and that marked his life. He became obsessed with death, which is why he works in a funeral home. When he became an adult, he was contacted by Iris, whom he helped whenever he could. Basically, he was her only friend, and for years they shared all the available information to defeat death. This explains why in all the movies, we saw John giving advice to different protagonists. He wanted to help them, and at the same time, he gathered information from their experiences. For him and Iris, it was a great discovery that a woman survived. In the movie, they mention Kimberly Corman, the protagonist of the second movie, who defeated the design. Iris and John worked together for years to learn from death. Some might think that John spent years dodging death like Iris, but this is not true. Let's remember that in this saga, the cycle always attacks the victims in the order of the premonition. That means the design never went after John because Iris was still alive. Iris and her entire family had to be eliminated so that John could be reached. That's why in the end, John says goodbye to the protagonist. Without Iris stopping the cycle, his end is imminent. He knows that Stefani and her friends could never survive. He has seen countless young people try, and almost no one has succeeded. That's why he says he's going to enjoy the little time he has left. I want to mention something interesting. Officially, John will be the last character to die in the entire saga. The movie ends with Stefani eliminated, so John is next. He is the end of the cycle. This is very fitting since he appeared in the first movie of the saga, and now he will be the last to go. The saga started with him, and it will end with him. Another detail is that when John says goodbye, he says the phrase, "Life is precious. Enjoy every valuable second." This message is extremely powerful, considering that the actor Tony Todd passed away after filming this movie. For years, he had been battling a serious illness. He knew that his life would end soon when he recorded this phrase. The actor gave us one final message before leaving. The movie has many interesting ideas to connect the events. For example, in Iris's premonition from 50 years ago, everything was triggered by a coin thrown by a child. Iris kept that coin in her diary. In the middle of the movie, we can see how this coin ends up in the hands of an old woman on the street. Then the movie shows how the coin escapes from the old woman and ends up on a train track, which causes the final accident. Basically, everything started with this coin 50 years ago, before all the movies. And in the end, everything ends with this same coin, after all the movies and protagonists. Before I go, I want to talk a little about the message of this movie. The story has a very clear message about family love. We have the example of Iris. She spent her whole life dodging death to protect her family. She understood that the cycle would never reach her children as long as she was alive. If it weren't for her, her entire family would have died years ago. She lived a horrible life, being hated by her family. But even so, she protected them from the shadows. Iris also showed her love for her family in her final moments. When Stefani visited her, at first, she didn't believe her. Iris couldn't allow Stefani to leave without being prepared to face the design. So Iris left her house and let the cycle reach her in front of Stefani. This way, the young girl believed her. Iris gave her life to give her family a chance. Another example of family love is present in Darlene, Stefani's mother. She abandoned her family years ago, but even so, at the end of the movie, she sacrificed herself to protect her youngest son. Even though she barely knew him, she still gave her life so that he could live. The movie is called Bloodlines, not just because it's about a family surviving, but because we see many examples of family love. The movie presented this family fighting to protect one another. It's a story about how human beings are capable of defending their loved ones beyond anything else. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.